Hi, this is Jill from Humu Yoga, and this is the full practice. And this week, we're going to focus on the theme of depth. Every week, I choose a new theme and I weave it into class. And it gives us a way to find an inner sense of purpose and takes us deeper. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start with some centering. And then I'm going to go ahead and read the inspirational quotes, and we'll make our way up to standing, where we'll start sun salutations, and I'll guide you through a pretty vigorous but deep practice. So we'll get started with the hands by the sides, and we'll take a moment to take the energy of the hands. It's like you're pulling that energy from the floor into your body. And then notice how you're sitting. Can you engage in pelvic floor and just enough so that you feel the muscles that you're sitting on engage? We call that mula bandha. That means root lock. And then above that, below the belly button, pull the belly in and up. And you get a sense of flying upward. Uddiyana bandha. Uddiyana means flying upward. And then with mula, your root, and uddiyana, flying upward, engaged, go ahead and just draw the chin down. We call that Jalandhara bandha, or chin lock. And that seals in the energy of the bandha so that now we can just let go of the hands, but we're fully supported, and stay in that and just focus on the breath now. We'll go to the depths of your breath. Inhale, can you feel the rib cage expand? And then exhale, feel the rib cage soften and come closer together. Inhale, full breaths. And exhale. And it's very natural. Inhale, breathing fully. And exhale, just let the rib cage fall closer together. And we'll take the hands in prayer position by the heart, and we'll vibrate an Om, and I'll read the inspirational quotes. So inhale. To reach a great height, a person needs to have great depth. It's not the length of life, but the depth of life. Life is too deep for words, so don't try to describe it, just live it. On the surface, the water is turbulent, with waves crashing and winds howling, but deep beneath, the ocean is calm and undisturbed. So we'll use this practice, this yoga practice, and all these postures as a way of going deeply inward to then be able to express ourselves outwardly. So we'll start by coming onto all fours and slowly moving the spine before we come into our sun salutations. So let's go ahead and just round the spine. Just feel a nice stretch, pulling everything in and up, nice and deep. And then inhale, coming forward and allowing the back to arch. And just feeling that stretch, maybe across the front, feeling the back body work a little. And then we'll exhale and round the spine. And from here, we'll just take it to downward facing dog. So we're just lifting up and back. And just find your dog, whatever length you need in this downward facing dog. You could bend the knees to let the back really lengthen so you're not just rounded forward. And then maybe you can stay there and start to straighten the legs, pulling the belly in. Maybe you need to do that a few times. Bend and then straighten. And just feel, where do you need this stretch the most? And take your focus there and try to go nice and deep with your breath. And exhale. And from here, we'll make our way up to the front. So very slowly, just walking up. I like to really push down with my hands and get a sense of lightness as I push down to walk up. Take your time, and then we'll fold. And then from here, inhale, lengthen your spine as long as you can, and then reach the arms. And we'll come down through heart center. And now we're in Samasatihi, standing still and straight. Just take a moment, notice that. And then we'll get ready to start Surya Namaskar, Sun Salutation A. Before we start, I always have a couple blocks and a trusty little towel. You could use a yoga strap or an exercise band, but it's not necessary. It's optional. So we'll go ahead and start. Inhale, Surya Namaskar A, reaching up. Exhale, fold as best you can, trying to keep your spine lengthening. Taking the hands down. Inhale, lengthen. And then we're going to take it back to a plank. Take a moment to notice your plank. Is your butt sticking out? Are you hanging out down here? You really want to find a firm plank. Now, you could stay in plank and lower down, but I'm going to come to my knees because I feel more support. I can keep that body line as we lower. So you lower and then push back up. Feel all those muscles work. We're making the most out of each of these movements. Then coming forward to upward facing dog, take the tail under, maybe the knees lift off, maybe not. Lift the sternum, gazing down the nose, the head goes back. And then we take it back to downward facing dog. And just breathe here. Inhale and exhale. Really deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. And just a couple more breaths, just noticing, are you finding some release? And exhale. And now let's slowly make our way up to the front. Again, pushing down to lift up, really pulling the belly in to get as much lift as you can. And fold. Inhale, lengthen, reaching, and exhaling, hands down. Let's do another one. Inhale, Surya Namaskar A. Exhale, fold. Feel that hip crease. You come forward. And then inhale, lengthen. Let's go ahead and take it back. Find a nice strong plank. And if you can hold this, maybe you could come forward. I like to come to my knees, come a little forward. It's nice and supported. And push up and come through. Lift the sternum, the tail is under. And exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. And breathe here. Inhale. Keep the lift of the belly, breathing. So it feels as though I'm breathing into my entire rib cage, but not so much into my belly. Inhale. Exhale. And one more breath. Inhale. Really reaching through the arms. Exhale. Inhale here. Let's make the way up. Pushing down, lifting up. And fold. Inhale, lengthen. And rise. And exhale. Now we're going to do Surya Namaskar B. We're going to bend the knees. We could use the blocks here if you wanted more height. It just helps to feel a little bit more lifted. Reach the arms. And exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. You'll notice it. If you jump back, you'll feel how light it is if you use the blocks. Keep the shoulders over the hands as you float back. Find that plank. And again, we lower. And rise. Coming through. Big breath in. Tail under. And exhaling, down dog. And with this down dog, let's go ahead and lift the right leg. And can you keep your body even, your upper body even when you do that? Lift that leg, just see where that goes. And then pull that knee up and put the foot down. If you're using blocks, you see it gives you a little bit more height. And reach up. And from here, let's go ahead and bend the back knee for a moment and take that tail under. I want you to feel a nice engagement and stretch of the hip flexors here. So you keep that by keeping that left butt under. Start to straighten the back leg, keeping that butt under as best you can. Now we'll add the upper body, getting the most depth we can out of this pose as you lift up to go back, up to go back, up to go back. Just keep breathing. And then from here, rising up, reaching forward. But as you reach forward, pull the right butt back. And then take the hands down and step back. And then we're going to go ahead and lower. The tail stays under as you lower. And rise, getting stronger with each one of these push-ups. And come forward, the tail under, lift the sternum. And we'll take it back, downward facing dog. And then we'll do the left side. So lift the left leg up, but reach your right heel down and push, push. And then lift that knee up and lightly put the foot down. And then we're going to rise up into the lunge, gazing straight ahead at first. Bend the back knee for a moment. Feel that tail under, that engagement of these muscles under the butt and the hip flexors in the front as you start to straighten the leg. So you try not to let your butt go out as you do that. Try and really keep that butt under as you straighten the leg. Now we add the upper body. Inhale, exhale. Go deep, exhale. Breathing. And then inhale, rise up, reach forward. Take your hands down. And then we'll step back. And then from here, lowering and rising. And then come forward, lift the sternum, tail under, and we'll go ahead and take it back, down dog. And breathe in your down dog. Inhale and exhale. Notice, are you feeling a lot warmer now? Breathing. Inhale and exhale. Notice, are you keeping your belly lifted? Don't push it out like that. Pull it way in as you breathe. Inhale and exhale. And then maybe find a target. You could walk up, or maybe you want to lightly lift up and put your feet down and fold. And then bend the knees, reach the arms, and come to stand. Let's do one more. So I'm not going to use the blocks for this one, but you could bend the knees, reach the arms. Sometimes I like to see if I can find that same height that the blocks gave me. Fold. Inhale. And let's go ahead and take it back. And then from here, let's go ahead and lower. Belly in, tail under, and rise. And come through. Tail under, lift the sternum, and downward facing dog. We're going to step into warrior one. So lifting that right leg up, taking that back foot down, reach the arms, big breath in. You're still trying to get that tail under on that left side. Pull the right butt back and go deep, breathing, breathing. And then inhale, rise up. Let's reach the arms and then take the hands down. Stepping back, strong plank, and then lower, tail under, and rise, and come through. Inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, going to downward facing dog. Warrior one, other side. So inhale, step up, put your back foot down, reach the arms. Feel that tail under on that right side, so you get a nice hip flexor stretch on that right side. Pull the left butt back, lift the sternum, and breathe. You're nice and deep. And then inhale, rise up, reach, and then take the hands down, stepping back, and lowering, and rising. And then coming through, tail under, lift the sternum, and take it back, downward facing dog. And just breathe here. Inhale and exhale. And just find a moment to just listen to your breath and notice what's going on in your body. And stay connected to that. Breathing. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to make our way up to the front. You could bend the knees, find a little target, lift up, and fold. And then bend the knees, reach the arms, and coming back to Samasthiti. And now let's go ahead and take the feet hip width. Let's do a gentle roll down. So we're going to drop the head and make sure your pelvis is neutral. So make sure your butt's not sticking out and it's not tucking under. Pubic bone and belly button on the same plane as you drop the head and roll down. We're going to roll down and try and engage the legs. So now we're stretching the spine. We're rounding, right? That's okay. We're stretching. And then when you get to the bottom, grab your elbows and give yourself a little pull down to the floor, but keep your legs straight. Inhale here, exhale, starting to come up. If you need to bend your knees a little, you can, but we're trying to keep the legs straight as best you can, tail under. And we're stacking the spine all the way up. And we'll do that again. Inhale. Make sure you're neutral here. As you go down, keep the tail under. Don't stick the butt out. We're rounding the spine, pulling the belly in to support that. Try to straighten your legs. If your butt goes back a little, that's okay. But if you want more stretch, pull it forward and try and keep the legs straight. Now you reach the elbows. Doesn't matter if you're way up here. Just do the best you can. We're feeling that hip crease nice and deep. And then we curl back up. We're doing this drill to try and deepen our forward bend, Uttanasana. So we'll do one more. This time we're going to hold. So round. And you're using your elbows like weights. They're pulling you down to the floor. And see how far you go. Like even if it doesn't matter how high you are. Just feel where you go. Just allow it to happen. We'll hold this one a little bit longer. Try to really straighten the legs. See if you can deepen the hip crease. Even if the legs go back a little, that's okay. Just notice the stretch. And then we'll inhale and come up. And now we'll try Uttanasana and see if maybe you go a little deeper. So we'll take the hands to the waist. Notice where your hip sockets are. Right in the front, right here. See if you hinge from there. So the spine is not rounding this time. Hinge. And stay forward for a moment. Lengthen, really lengthen your spine as best you can. And then grab the back of the legs. Feel the hip crease get deep as you fold your body forward. And just see where you can stay. Breathe. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale. Shoulders away from your ears. It doesn't matter if you're way out here, but what does matter is that your spine is lengthening and you want this hip crease deep. Find that depth. Breathe. And now inhale, lengthen. Let's take the arms out this time and rise all the way up. And then we'll exhale, coming back to Samasthiti. And now we'll do some standing posture. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the blocks. As usual, I put one in the front and one in the back. And then we'll go ahead and step out. Let's come into Utthita Trikonasana. Turn the left foot in, the right foot out. Inhale, strong supporting legs as you come into the pose. You could reach, take the hand down. I like a pretty long Trikonasana today. Inhale, it gives me a nice stretch in my inner thighs. Maybe you feel hamstrings. Turn, gently looking up, breathing or straight ahead if that was better in your neck. Breathe. Inhale, rise up. We'll go to the other side. How smooth can you make this transition? Inhale here and exhale, reaching. It's the little things that matter. And reach up, turn. Feel the length in that front leg. I'm turning. I'm feeling a nice stretch here too. Breathing. And that's the depth. That's where you want to go. Breathe. Inhale, rise up. And let's go to Parsvottanasana Trikonasana. So inhale here, keeping the hips facing straight ahead. We'll come across with the left arm. Come across. You can take your gaze down for a moment and notice your spine lengthening. And then from there, turn. But try not to turn your hips. Turn the ribs, the left ribs to the right. Turning, but still lengthening your spine. And then inhale. It's a lot of balance, a lot of depth in that one. Good. And then we'll go to the other side. So from here, both hips facing straight ahead, reaching across. Take a moment, look down and lengthen your spine, and then start to turn. Try not to turn your hips. Keep pulling your left butt back as you turn. Maybe your gaze is up, maybe it's straight ahead. Breathe, and then inhale and rise up. And now we'll go to Warrior Two. So turning the left foot in, the right foot out, and find your spacing. So as you melt into the pose, you want to be long enough so that you can make a nice right angle here. And then from here, just turn your head and breathe. Keep that lift. Inhale and exhale. Strong warrior. Breathing. And now we'll take this to Utthita Parsvottanasana, side angle. So we can circle. You could stay here, really rolling that right shoulder away from your ear, or maybe you want to take it down to a block or to the floor and reach and turn your right ribs. Really reach this top arm, turn. Maybe you can turn gazing down your nose, your head up a little bit, or maybe straight ahead is better. And then inhale, let's rise up. And then let's turn. So turning the back foot, front foot, and then just melt to warrior two, trying to make a right angle, gazing over the fingertips. Feel the lift. When you have bandhas, breath, you're going inward, and then you can extend outward. Breathing, Utthita Parsvottanasana, building the pose. Circle. You could take your hand down, or you could stay. Breathe. Keep breathing. One more breath. Inhale, rise up. Let's come to Parsvottanasana. So let's turn the toes parallel. So this is a deep forward bend, right? But it's spread out. So feel the hinge at the hips again. Feel that hip crease as you come forward. Keep your spine lengthening, really lengthening. And we come all the way down. Take your hands through. You could put your head on a block if you needed to. Try to make a right angle at your elbows. And try to roll your shoulders away from your ears, really down. And then maybe get your hips a little bit more forward in alignment with your ankles. And then inhale, lengthen. You could take your hands to your waist and rise up. Let's come into a goddess pose. So in this variation, your feet are turned out, and the wider you go, the harder this is. So go to a width that you feel supported. So as we come down, I don't want you to lean forward. I want you to try and come straight down and open the knees. We're going to do this 3 times. Hold, come up, and then we'll do it again. So go down slowly. Think of external rotation, but it's really supported going down, keeping the tail down, hold, and come up. And then on the next one, let's see if we can hold it. So going down, and just go to a depth that feels natural in your body. You're not pushing yourself, you're just opening from external rotation and allowing your body to just find its depth. Stay there, breathing. Just a couple more breaths, and then inhale, rise up. And now let's turn, and we're going to come into Parsvottanasana, but a variation. So we'll take the hands behind the head, lift the sternum, and we're going to try a few of these again. So we're going to come forward with a lengthened spine. And I want you to hold for a moment, pulling the right butt back, and then rise up. And we'll do it again. And go forward, pull the right butt back. As you go forward, hold for a moment, and come back up. You really feel the work in the legs. And then the next one, we're going to go all the way. So find that hip crease, go over, and now maybe you could surrender and stay wherever you are. Just stay, breathe, breathe, and then inhale, lengthen, and rise up. And now we'll go to the other side. So just pivoting the feet, both hips facing forward. Take the hands behind the head, and notice you really want to keep your back lengthening so it's engaged. As you come forward, you have to really pull that left butt back. We don't want the hips to turn. And then come up. And then we'll do it again. Keep pulling the left butt back. Inhale. Pause here, breathe. Rise up. And on the next one, we'll hold. So inhale, hinging at the hip, hinge, and then let your head come down and breathe. Stay here, breathe. See how deep you can go. Find that depth with the breath, with the hinge at the hip. And then inhale, lengthen, and come all the way up. And then we'll just step everything together at Samasetahi. And we're going to do Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana. So I'm going to clean up the house a little bit. Just move my blocks to the front. And we'll go ahead and use the wall. So let the right leg come up. But today, let's hold the outside of the foot. So you want to hold the outside of the foot and try to hug the knee in and see if you can go a little higher. And just really play with that. Inhale and exhale. And then from here, let's go ahead and take it out to the side. If you have your hand on the wall, you might be able to go a little deeper. Make sure you keep your butt down here. You don't want to stick your butt out. And then let's bring it back. And then let's do a little experiment. Ah, what happens? And then what happens? Right? Can you? And then hold it. Ta-da! And slowly down. Let's go to the other side. So letting the left leg come up. And we're going to hold the outside. You can enter from inside or outside, whatever works in your body. And then straighten the leg. Where can you go with that? Especially if you're holding on, you can play around. Right? What happens? And then let's go ahead and open. Open. Make sure your butt's not sticking out. Open. And then go ahead and let it come back. Right? And lift it up, lift it up, lift it up. Let's try both hands. Ah, what's going on? And then let's try a bow in. Rise up. And hold it out there. And slowly down. And then we'll come to Samasati. And now we're going to go through a little vinyasa. So inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, let's go ahead and just take it back. And we'll be on the hands and knees. For this next series, we're going to go into Hanumanasana, which is an excellent pose to go to your depths in so many ways. I'm going to use blocks. You could also use a wall or probably like a piece of furniture, like a chair might be better, something you could hold on to. And I'm going to use my towel. So just for padding and then as a slider. So I'm going to start by putting it under the left knee. And then we're going to step the right foot forward. And from here, let's just go ahead and feel that sense of, I'm really trying to get this butt under on this left side, and I'm trying to pull this right butt back. So there's a lot of muscular energy going on there just to support myself, right? And from here, I'm going to start to bend the front knee forward. And as we do, I want you to come into a nice, beautiful Anjaneyasana, but I want you to keep that engagement. So we'll take the arms here, take the arms, reach the arms, keeping the tail under, lifting up to go back. Keep lifting up to go back. It's nice and supported. Go deep. Breathe. And then inhale, rise up. And then we'll go to the other side. So taking a moment. As always, when you're on your knee, try not to be directly down on the knee, but a little forward of the kneecap. That really helps so that there's no pressure. And then here, find the same thing. Just take a moment and really pull that right butt under, right? And then pull the left butt back. So it's dynamic. You're really working that. See if you can find that just here. Now we'll come into Anjaneyasana. So start to bend the front knee, keeping this butt under, lifting the sternum, and just go somewhere really beautiful. Lift up, keeping that butt under, lifting up. Inhale, exhale, and inhale, rise up. Okay, and now the moment we've all been waiting for. Hanumanasana. So I'm going to use that towel now for my front foot as a slider. You could also be on a blanket. You could use a sock or anything that slides on your floor. For carpet, you might not even need anything. So we'll step the right foot forward. And just for a moment, fold in and pull the toes back. And notice how that becomes a nice hamstring stretch, pretty deep hamstring stretch. And then rise up. Now, as we come into Hanuman, it's not only a hamstring stretch, we want to try and stay straight up because we want to get the hip flexors and the back leg. That's what makes it a really cool pose. So make sure you're not directly on your knee again. And I'm using the blocks here to support myself. And I'm pulling the right butt back a lot and tucking the left side under. And we're going to go down, hold, come back up. And we'll do that again, going down, keep pulling the right butt back, left butt under. Hold for a moment, come back up, and then one more time. So if you were using a chair, you could be holding on just to the side, right? And go down, or some piece of furniture, go down. And then this time we're going to try and hold. But I want you to really focus on pulling this tail under. So we could use the block for support, right? Whatever level you needed. And you keep working on tucking the tail under on this side and pulling the right butt back. And then maybe we could add lifting up to go back, up to go back. Maybe we stay neutral. And then from here, we slowly bring it in. And we'll go to the other side. So moving the slider over, putting the left foot on, and take a moment to do a nice fold. So you feel the fold in the hip socket, pull the toes back, you feel the nice stretch in the back of the leg. And then inhale, rise up. Now we'll come into the pose. So it's nice to tuck the back knee under and make sure you're not right on top of that kneecap. All right, as you tuck the right butt under, pull the left butt back, and then start to go down. Hold, and then come up. And then do it again. You might notice that you're different one side to the other. This side, I don't have as much mobility and flexibility. Come up. And then this time we're going to hold. So keep that right butt under, left butt pulling back, trying to go straight down. Try not to turn the hips out at all. Breathe, breathe. So you could find your block maybe right under the butt, keeping that right butt under, left hip back. Breathe. You could reach the arm if that felt good in your body. Or you could stay here and then slowly coming back. Yay. Let's come into just a quick downward facing dog for a moment. So go ahead and just stretch the legs out. Hopefully you went deep, you went to your depth and it wasn't too bad. And then we're going to come down to the Virasana. So a nice meditative pose. So knees together and you're going to have your feet outside of your hips. I use blocks because I have osteoarthritis in my knees and they don't bend that deeply. So I'm going to come back just carefully, but you don't have to if your body. Some people do this really easily. I'm feeling the inner thighs roll in and I'm letting the calves roll out. So there's space under my knee, under both knees. And then find a moment where you can just sit straight up. And we'll do Yana Mudra, where your intuition and your inspiration come together. And we'll just sit for a moment and go deep, deep into breath, deep into ease. But there's a lot of light. There's a lot of lift and support. And just notice in this pause, you're not doing very much, but it's probably the deepest you are in this pose. And now we'll add the arms. Inhale, reach. And now take it into a back bend. Lift up, lift up, lift up. See where you can go with it. You could have your hands apart if that was better for you. Keep lifting, keep lifting. And then inhale, rise up. And we'll come to heart center. And then from here, we'll come onto the knees for Ustrasana. So you could take your blocks if you were using them and put them outside of your ankles. Or you could have your toes under, or you could have your toes pointed if you could go that deep to grab the heels. But we're going to use the blocks. So feel a sense of the shins pushing down into the floor. And by doing that, you feel the under the butt muscles, and then you'll get a nice stretch on the hip flexors. So keep doing that. It's like the tail's under and the pubic bone is lifting upward. As you lift the sternum, don't take the head back yet. Let's just focus on that sternum for a moment. And then at some point, go ahead and see if you can reach back. And if you came back a little to do that, that's okay. We're just going to take it forward again. And then lastly, take the head and just let it be where it is. And breathe. And keep breathing. If you find, oh, this is kind of easy, I want to go deeper, you could go down, lift the sternum, and come back. Keep breathing.
Keep lifting. It feels like I'm pushing my butt forward and up, up, up. And then inhale and rise.
And then we're going to make our way down to seated. So just come to seated. I'm going to do this way where I walk up because I'm working on this. And I take my hands down. I try to lift my knees up. And then I come down. And then come to seated. So from here, we're just going to do a nice Parsvottanasana. So sit way up. Make sure your spine is really long. If you need to bend your knees a little to do that, you can do that. If you need your little towel or band or belt, you could use it. And from here, keep the spine lengthening. And then we're just going to fold into a forward bend. You could do that a couple times if you need it. Lengthen and fold. And then one more time, sit up. And whatever variation you chose, you might even be able to grab your wrist and fold. But make sure your shoulders are pulling away from your ears and it's a deep fold in the hip socket, and just relax. Breathing. Keeping your legs engaged, breathing. Deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Inhale, lengthen from your heart, and exhale, come all the way up. And then from here, let's just come into a glute stretch. So letting your right leg come up. There's a nice hinge in your hip as you bend the knee in. Just like this, just bend. And then we'll take the leg across and do your best to sit up. And if this was okay for you and you wanted to go deeper, you might be able to bring your bottom leg in. Savasana, fire log pose. You want your ankle over your knee and your knee over your ankle. And if this was accessible, you might be able to come forward. But sitting up like this and just trying to get the knee down is good. And so is this. So whatever phase you're in, just go deep. Just notice where you're at with that. And then inhale and rise up. Nothing like deep hip stretches. Padangusthasana. And now we'll do the other side. So bending the left leg, pulling the knee back. Now your hip is flexed, right? But now we're going to externally rotate so it comes across, right? You feel that, right? And sit way up. And then maybe here, sitting up as tall as you can. Or maybe stay here if this is good, you'll know. Or maybe this is accessible to you. If your knee's up a little bit, that's okay. But you try to really keep the ankle, the integrity of the ankle over the knee and the knee over the ankle. Maybe you're sitting up. Maybe you can come forward. And just breathe. Find the depths of the breath and notice how that creates release. And then inhale, rise up. Let's come to Dandasana. Sitting up tall, and we're going to make our way down to the floor now. So sitting up, exhale, start to curl your spine back, pull the belly in, allowing one vertebra at a time. You're coming down to the floor, curling. You could use your hands, and we come all the way down. And once we're here, let's go ahead and bend the knees. Take a breath in. We'll come into a bridge, just curling, just an articulating bridge. Lift the hips really high. Really feel the hip flexors here and the under the butt muscles here. Reach the arms. Take a breath in. Exhale, start to articulate down. Curl the spine all the way down. Really tucking under, and then you come down all the way. Letting the arms come down. Let's do one more. Inhale. You can adjust your feet again if you need. Curl. Lift, find that support from under the butt. Reach the arms and curl and come down. And now we're going to finish with a supported inversion, or maybe for some people it's halasana, plow and shoulder stand. But we'll start here together. But some people don't do that because of the pressure in the neck.
osteoporosis. It's not recommended to do that if you have osteoporosis. Lift your feet up. Now find a neutral spine. Don't arch, right? And try not to tuck under too much. See if you can find a nice place where you feel the inversion, but you feel a stretch in your legs maybe. Stay here, or if you wanted to try plow pose, you come over and just go where it feels nice and your neck is lengthened. And if you're there and you want to go here, that's fine too. Shoulders down, but make sure your neck is not pressing down into your chest, but you have space. And you breathe. And you can stay here as long as feels good in your body, but I'm going to take us out now. So coming down, you can always pause the video and come down, and then maybe bend the knees. That feels nice. And let's slowly meet. Everyone meets back on the block and stay here for a moment. Let's take the feet down. Let's do a little Padangusthasana. Feet together, knees out. And just notice, what are the ribs doing here? Just let the knees gently fall open. And you can go deep even when it's gentle, right? It's just about the connection. Breathing. Slowly letting the legs come together. We'll lift off the block, but as you do that, then shift the hips to the left. Let the knees come up and take them over to the right. You can use your right hand to gently guide that right knee over. Maybe you change your gaze to the left as you roll this left shoulder open, or you could gaze straight up, breathing. Let the breath take you deeper. And then inhale. Lift the hips up, shift them to the right, knees up, gently guiding that right knee over the left, and then roll that right shoulder open, gently maybe gazing to the right or straight ahead, straight up. Breathe. And then inhale, letting everything come back to the center. Take a moment, hug everything in, pull the belly way in, and then release. And now just go deep into this inner peace. Call it Savasana. And stay there. So you can stay here and pause the video, but I'm going to go ahead and take us out. So you can start to move fingers and toes, just feeling your breath, becoming aware of your breath. And then slowly bending the knees. And we're going to turn and come to your side and pause in a fetal position for a moment. And then slowly making your way up to seated. And taking a moment to find the depth of where you are right now in this inner peace. The body is released. And you can take this depth with you and let it resonate in everything you do. Namaste.